The president of the Ijaw Youth Council is suing for peace following the political tension generated by the commencement of impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State. Addressing some Ijaw youths in solidarity with the governor at the entrance to the government house in Port Harcourt, the IYC president, Jonathan Lokpobiri, appealed to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to peacefully settle all differences with his successor. Lokpobiri also dismissed insinuations that the Ijaws and the Ikweres are at war over the matter, while urging both tribesmen to work together to promote peace in Rivers State. For this conversation, we are now being joined by the president of the Ijaw Council, Jonathan Lokpobiri. He would also state ways to prevent the crisis from leading to a breach of peace in the state. All right, and thank you so much for being here on Newsday, Mr. Lokpobiri. Let's go straight into it. Considering your deep understanding of the Rivers State politics, what factors do you believe have contributed to the tension between the Governor Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike? Are there specific incidents or policy decisions that you believe might have triggered this fallout? Also, let's look at the removal of Edisin Ehie as the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, which has been interpreted as an attempt to purge the assembly of Wike's loyalists. How do you think this will impact the politics dynamics in the state, especially concerning the ongoing tensions?
Well, first, thank you. My position, like I took yesterday, is not to take a position on who is absolutely right or wrong, but rather take a more central approach to de-escalating this crisis that has engulfed Rivers State within the last couple of days. Part of the reason why I do feel that I'm not likely to take a position on who is right or what human factors that may have led to this increasing division and almost escalated violence in Port Harcourt and in Rivers State, and creating a wedge between Ijaw people and Rivers State, Ikweres. First, like I said, the governor is a political son to the leader of the Rivers State politics, Governor Nyesom Wike, who in his wisdom felt that Sim, who by origin is an Ijaw son, but it's not a choice of Ijaw nation that made this decision of him, Wike, making him governor. So whatever the human factors that may have degenerated to the level where their relationship got this bad, I do feel that there will always be the human element. Followers who are behind these people who have taken firm position that their whims and caprices will prevail. Same, in my opinion, may not have the political experience just like the governor would be. But the fact is, he's governor today. So if there are any issues that people consider that he may not have done right, in my opinion, this constant interface on how to improve service delivery that is expected by all Rivers people should be the way to continue to admonish, to criticize, and then make the purpose of governance a lot more easier for the people of Rivers State, which by extension serves a bigger interest of a larger Niger Delta interest. So, of a truth, I would not like to apportion who is wrong in what has led to the escalated tension in Rivers State.
Now, though you do not want to take a position on this matter, what measures then would you suggest can be used to de-escalate this conflict? Should the President of the Federal Republic weigh into this matter, as some elder statesmen have suggested?
Yes. part of the ways to de-escalating this tension, not just de-escalating the tension, but also reconciling these people who have lived like a father and a son is paramount to me. One of the ways we are doing so is that the Niger Delta ethnic nationalities have come together to also wade in, meeting with the Minister of FCT. As I speak to you, that meeting is ongoing. Part of the reason is to stand with him in his job as FCT Minister and to also use this same medium to pass a message to the Minister that what is most needed in Rivers State and the Niger Delta is peace. And that peace cannot happen if there's no synergy and peaceful coexistence between himself and his godson. So what we are doing is for us to know the root causes that has created this divide amongst them, and to find a way to have conciliatory means of resolving the key political issues that are on the line. And then using this same medium to call on the president of the country to wade in. Rivers State is like our Lagos. Rivers State is Lagos to the Niger Delta. So any political tension in Rivers State can practically affect and engulf the entire region. So we're doing everything humanly possible as a youth group. We're interfacing with also key leaders of council. And that is why we are using more conciliatory languages instead of rash actions that will create, escalate further tension in the region.
Okay, thank you so much for that. But let's talk about the alleged involvement of security agencies, especially as seen in the tear gassing of Governor Fubara himself. That has indeed raised concerns about the democratic process. How crucial is it for security agencies to remain impartial in political disputes? And what can be done to ensure that their actions always align with democratic principles? And considering the allegations of remote control, how significant is the role of autonomy for state governors in fostering effective governance? The balance between party loyalty and individual governance style being achieved to avoid conflicts in the future?
Yeah, the value of an impartial and professional security architecture in any state in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. What happened in Rivers State was an assault on not just Governor Sim, but an assault on the democratic processes. The police in Rivers State committed a crime that needs not just to be kept under the carpet. The Commissioner of Police, the IG of Police must stand up to the occasion and demand investigation as to what happened in Rivers State. Governor Sim could have been killed by the behavior of those policemen who took advantage of that conflict, which was a political issue that had nothing to do with security agents, to take advantage of that and almost assassinated the governor of Rivers State. But thank God that didn't happen. Governance, in my opinion, must be about people. And if governance is about the people, certain issues that create tension must be deliberately avoided. If there's a political misunderstanding between a political family, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with police taking the laws into their hands and wanting to act out their whims and caprices simply because they know that there's a division in the polity within Rivers State. I am using this medium to call on the IG to make a formal statement so we know the identity of the policemen who carried out that action yesterday. It's unacceptable. Governance, if governance is truly about the people, Governor Sim is governor of Rivers State today. Yes, we are not undermining the fact that people helped him to be governor, but he's governor today. Let me also bring your attention to the fact that Governor Wike, before he became governor, was Minister of State for Education. In similar manner, just as he helped in making Governor Sim governor of Rivers State, the former president, President Goodluck Jonathan, and his dear wife, Patience, were instrumental in making sure that Governor Wike was preferred candidate and he was made governor. So if governance is about the people, when someone is governor, it's important that leaders rally around, advise, admonish if they are doing things wrong, rather than allowing things that will totally create a chaos in a state that requires or needs peace desperately.
Now, Mr. Lokpobiri, some analysts believe this crisis in Rivers State reiterates the dangers of Godfatherism and governors having the free hand to choose their successors and sometimes ruling behind the scenes even after they've left office. So what do you suggest? What do you think can be done to curb this in Nigerian politics?
Of a truth, our democracy hasn't matured enough to the level where individuals who are people-oriented can emerge through democratic processes to be governors, senators, and all that without the support of godfathers. Though it's a dangerous trend that sometimes, especially when these godfathers do not mean well, sometimes it can create a total diversion of people-focused government into self-seeking mediums of governance. This may not be the exact situation today, but the simple truth is that the democracy must be grown to the level where people, the free will of the people, must decide who governs them. And when that happens, that is only when people can truly be accountable to the citizenry. And until that is made possible for the Nigerian democratic system, it will be difficult, and most times, like we have experienced in other climes, where successors within a short period of their tenure begin to have issues with their godfathers. Sometimes, because these are not things that are brought before the public, people do not know what leaders are facing. I cannot condemn people who have played that role of helping others to succeed them. But it's also important that people who are given the opportunity to govern are given some measure of free will to make choices in terms of governance, because if they succeed, it's a credit. If they fail, it's their own failure. Freedom is important in any human society. While we agree that there can't be any absolute freedom, it's important that some measure of free will is allowed so that people can bring their own purpose and vision to bear in the lives of governance of their own people at any level.
Okay. Mr. Lokpobiri, following the impeachment notice, of course, served to the state governor by members of the State House of Assembly, we got this comment from the elder statesman and Ijaw leader Edwin Clark, who is urging the president to intervene in the current political crisis in Rivers State, as rightfully even mentioned by my colleague Temitope. Now, his appeal is specifically targeting the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and urging Tinubu to advise and caution him, warning about the potential dire consequences if Governor Fubara is removed from office. From your perspective, what could these consequences be, both in the context of Rivers State and the broader Niger Delta region?
Part of why I've deliberately avoided the introduction of ethnicity into this crisis, for me, this is the angle people are going where threats are issued. I won't do that part as long as I am of the firm belief that this is a political issue that requires political solution. So if people are threatening consequences, I'm of the firm conviction that this matter can be brought under control. Yes, the House of Assembly, which had a legitimate right and powers to extend notice of impeachment on the governor, I believe that there's a window for reconciliation where all of this can be brought under control. Part of the reasons why perhaps the elder statesman meant that there are consequences is that Nigerian politics is governed most majorly by ethnicity. And because people who are merchants of crisis, there are a lot of people who have gone to the governor to fund the embers of war, to declare war, whilst there are those who, on the other divide, have gone to Wiki that we must crush him and all of this. All of this, in reality, portends a great danger for the state and the Niger Delta region at large. If these things are not put under control, if the president do not wade into this crisis and eventually it polarizes the system into an ethnic-based system, there will be consequences. Relationships that people have built over the time. There are marriages that are between the Ijaws and the Queries. All of this could be called a question. Perhaps this is what he meant when he said there will be consequences. It literally does not mean that there will be war. That's not anybody wish, including himself, whom I believe that is father to all of these actors concerned.
Well, finally, before we let you go, I'm wondering what role you think traditional rulers, especially in the Niger Delta area, what role do you think they can play in resolving this crisis and preventing such from happening again? Very briefly, please.
Well, part of the ways in which I do think that traditional rulers, which are the custodians of our tradition, can play, namely, all of these major actors in this conflict emanate from clans, from kingdoms, which are their subjects at the local level. If traditional rulers maintain the authority, the traditional authority they bear, to exercise some element of truth and firmness to advise their kids and kins, people will listen. More so, like I said, politicians may sometimes create tension because of interest, which is permanent in their goals. Traditional rulers have the permanent interest of instilling discipline and peace within their region, within their domains and their clans. So in my opinion, traditional rulers, alongside other men and women of goodwill, can truly intervene into a conflict I do believe that hasn't gone out of control.
All right, and thank you so much for being on here on Newsday. We appreciate your time and your analysis.